Hi, friends. Good evening. Today, I want to talk about a recent book I read. It's called The Copywriter's Handbook, a step by step guide to writing copy that sells, written by Robert W. Bly. It's actually a old book written in 1985. And when I heard about this book, strongly recommended by someone I respect, I was wondering, a book written in 1985 about advertising copy, does it still make sense in 2021 when I'm reading it? But the person who recommended the book to me told that it does because the basics of advertising copy didn't change and wouldn't change. I mean, maybe the earlier copy was written for magazines, print ads, and stuff like that. But today's copy is written more for online ads, web, and stuff like that. Other than that, the basics remain the same. That's what he said, and he strongly recommended the book to me for a specific reason. I'm not an advertising professional. I'm not going to write advertising copy. But at the same time, I do publish my own books. And when I do that, starting from picking a good title for my book to writing a good description about the book so that people feel the interest, they want to, I have to make them feel like buying the book. Similarly, when I talk about my books in social media or any other places, there also I should be able to make a interest. I should be able to create interest in the minds of people. So what this person told us, you should read this book because Robert Bly talks about some concepts. Uh, Once they go and sit in your brain, you're not going to write advertising copy for a living, but at the same time, the concepts are so good that they will sit with you and then they will reflect in whatever you write, and you will be able to sell things. When I say selling, it need not be books, it can be anything. For example, let's say you're writing a proposal document for your manager to read. You will be able to write it in such a way that it projects the right facts, and your manager or whoever is reading the document is able to appreciate the benefits of what you're trying to propose. Similarly, let's say you're writing a resume. In that case, you will be able to really present your best skills so that the recruiter will be able to see them, and so on. These are all just small examples, but I mean, somehow the person who recommended this book to me used a good copy to sell the idea to me. So I went ahead and bought the book. In fact, I made a mistake. I didn't buy the Kindle book. This time I decided to try a Audible book, the audio version of it. Yeah, I mean, it was good. I was able to enjoy the book. But the problem with Audible was, one, I was not used to listening to audio books, even though they are good and then widely accepted across the globe. The second problem was the book was so good in giving a lot of points. I wanted to underline them. I wanted to keep it as a reference for me. For example, let's say 10 techniques to write a great headline. I wanted to keep those 10 techniques as a checklist and then use it when I'm writing a headline. I wanted to review those 10 points and then see it. And that's something that you cannot do with the audiobook. So probably this is not a best book to listen. This is a good, probably it's better you go for a print version. That's what I would recommend. But anyway, in terms of contents, all three formats, audio or ebook or print, are same. So I listened to the audio version and I want to talk about that. So what is covered in this book? First of all, Robert Bly talks about what is copywriting, the basics of it. First, one important message that he shares from very first page of the book is, you're not writing copy to win awards. So typically when we say advertising copy, we feel it should be very creative. People should say, wow, what a pun, what a clever way of putting things. If people are really fascinated by what you have written and don't buy the product, you have actually failed. Your advertising copy is probably great and creative, but it didn't do its job. That's something that Blythe keeps repeating throughout the book. Yeah, of course, he comes from the old school, and yeah, it's I mean, like, your copy should sell, otherwise it's of no use. That's what he keeps saying. Modern people may not agree to it, but at the end of the day, you write a copy to sell. So that's a fact. So he starts by explaining what is copywriting, what is its goals, and what is the purpose of communication, and what is selling, and why copy can sell. He talks about the importance of having a very catchy headline. What are the different ways to write a headline? That is, I mean, it could be compared to your email subject lines. You see a email subject line, will you open that mail? There are certain, I mean, you may open an email because a certain person sent it. That's a separate story. It may be your boss, it may be your friend. So you open the mail to read it. Forget it. Imagine somebody whom you don't know has sent you a mail and there is a subject line. Another until it is catchy and it really conveys what is inside the mail, you're not going to open it. It's a age of spam mails, and then we typically press a delete button and then it just goes away. So Bly talks about importance of headline, what should be in the headline, what should not be in the headline, and how headlines should naturally create the interest for somebody to read rest of the text. Most of the remaining text is not read by many people. Most people read only the headline, and a smaller percentage of people read only the first paragraph probably. And then there is graphics, how graphics and text can coexist, what is good in terms of graphics, what is not good in terms of graphics. Actually, I would say he does a fantastic analysis of all sorts of ads, copies, and he makes a very good case that copy is what is finally selling it. It doesn't matter. You may have a flashy graphics, you may have amazing video animation, you may have the best artists in your ad, you may have a Bollywood actor or a cricket player in your ad. After all those, it is the copy which is the most important element in an ad, and that's a message very cleverly and clearly sold by Bly in this book. That's what I would say. And another chapter that I loved was researching. So for you to write one paragraph of crisp advertising copy, you need to research a lot. You need to understand. So in my case, I don't have to do that because it's my own book and I'm writing the copy for that. But imagine I'm doing the job. Let's say I'm trying to sell somebody's new engineering product. In that case, I need to do the research to understand fully about that person's product and what is the specialty. The specialty may come out automatically, or you may have to actually pull it from the available material. You may have to research the competitors' products. You may have to look at the existing copies of other competing products, and then you may have to pick the best one. So Bly talks about all these in detail. One fascinating example that I want to quote from the book is there is a beer manufacturer for whom somebody is writing advertising copy, and they're really looking for something unique. Something unique should be there in your ad. You don't want to say I'm yet another beer, right? You want to say something unique. So this person does a factory tour, and when doing the factory tour, he finds a particular machine which cleans these bottles using some steam or some specific technique. And this guy is fascinated. He says, oh, this is very nice, we can use it in the ad, that our bottles are cleaned using this technology, and that means we are very pure or whatever it is. But the factory people say, no, don't talk about this. This is not unique. Everybody does it. Every beer manufacturer does it. But when this guy goes back and looks at all the beer ads, maybe everybody does it, but nobody is actually putting it in their ads. Nobody says we use this technique to clean our bottles and hence we are pure. So he decides to use that point in the ad and then creates a very successful ad. So this is a very important example how research is important, and how things which are not spotted by the people, the beer manufacturer themselves, can be seen by an advertising copywriter, and how he or she can use it to create maximum impact. And then rest of the book takes care of, each chapter is taking care of one particular type of ad: print ad, direct mail, brochures, PR, public relations, TV, radio commercials, web, email marketing, online advertisements, social media, content marketing. Bly covers everything. In fact, I was fascinated by the range, and he has worked on all those, and everything he breaks it open. For example, if you take a video advertisement, he really breaks it open and says, okay, this is how it should be. This is the format to use. Many times he gives you very valuable tips. Some of the tips are his own. Some of the tips he takes from other experts and say, hey, expert in this field gives you these 10 tips and you can use it, and so on. So each chapter is so wholesome. I would in fact, if I'm let's say I do advertising copywriting as a job, then I'll probably keep this book in my desk and keep on referring to it. Let's say I'm writing a email marketing letter. I would refer to email marketing chapter and make sure that all the best practices are taken. That's actually it's a 400 plus page book, and then the amount of information that Bly gives is really amazing. I absolutely loved it. In fact, I bought his another book immediately after finishing this book. I bought one more book of Bly. It was that good. And okay, now my important takeaways from the book. I want to talk about 5 points which I felt are the most important takeaways. Number one, how to write so that it sells. Again, like I said earlier, it need not be a product. It can be selling a concept, or it can be selling ourselves as our own image, we as a brand. It could be anything, but learn to write so that it sells something to the minds of the readers. That's the first takeaway I learned. Second one, start seeing things from others' perspective. Whenever you're writing things, what's in it for the reader is something which is very important. So if you see things from the reader's perspective and start adding them in your writing, then automatically the reader feels closer to what you have written, and the reader is more likely to take the action that you want him or her to take. So that's a second takeaway. Third one, simple writing is the best. Bly makes a case for this across chapters. He keeps saying, don't overcomplicate things. Making things simple is the toughest thing, and that's what is the best thing that you can do for your ad copy. What I feel is it's not just for ad copy. It could be for anything. It could be an email, it could be a Facebook post, or it could be this video. This video itself, I can make it very flashy. I can make it, put a lot of animations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, saying things in a simple way is what is going to stick in the minds of people. So that's a third takeaway. Fourth one, when you are mastering a particular field, also know the neighboring fields. For example, Bly is a master of ad copywriting, but he has so much of information to give you in terms of graphics, in terms of design, in terms of which media to pick, in terms of what is the right scale and stuff like that, a scale of campaign and stuff like that. So that means this doesn't mean you should get distracted. He's still a writer, he's still a copywriter, and he strongly advocates you to be a strong copywriter. He says don't try too many things, but at the same time, don't be just, okay, I'm a copywriter and I just can talk about it, I don't know anything else. So the neighboring fields, have a knowledge so that you can guide people. You don't have to sit and design an ad, but you should be able to tell the designer, hey, guess what, if you put this copy in this way, it is likely to make a maximum impression. Can you tell your photographer saying that, hey, if your photo can have these elements, then it would be great add-on to the caption that I have written, and so on. So try to get a good understanding of your related fields or neighboring fields. That's a fourth takeaway. And the fifth one, which is another personal thing about Bly, even though he started writing many decades back, he's up to speed on things like online ads, social media, web marketing, landing pages, everything. So it's very clear that he didn't, just because he belongs to another generation of copywriters, he didn't freeze there and then shy away from the modern things. So he has updated himself, and he is able to make a great impression even in the second or third generation products. And he's working with the modern companies, he's working with modern products, he's writing for modern media, and he has rewritten this book. This is the fourth edition of the book that I read, and it's rewritten completely to cover all these modern concepts. That says a lot about Bly. He has transformed himself from a previous generation copywriting world to a modern world, and he's still staying relevant. So that is something which I really liked. So to summarize, the 5 important takeaways for me from this book are: how to write so that it sells, seeing things from others' perspective, answering the what's in it for them question, simple writing is the best. When you're trying to become expert in a particular field, try to have a decent understanding of the neighboring or related fields, and watch the industry changes that are happening around you and renew yourself on a continuous basis. Those are the 5 takeaways for me. Hope you like this review. If you're interested, you can use the link given in the description to buy the book. Like I said, it's available in all formats. I've given all three links: print book, ebook, and audiobook. Whatever works for you, try it, and add your comments. Did you like the book? Did you like the review? Thank you.